Suddenly, everyone perked up and listened intently. Firstly, the Su family's influence must be converted into financial resources. 2/10 will be returned to the Grand Hall of Defense, while 8/10 will be divided among the 4 families. However, there should be an assessment system in place. Those who fail will have their shares revoked. Secondly, after screening the assets, they should be handed over to Feng Che. We need to take advantage of this plot by the One Heart sect to see what they are planning and try to obtain some clues from Feng Che. Thirdly, secret missions should be given to talented individuals across various regions. They must do everything possible to block Feng Che and absolutely not allow him to come out on top, so as not to cause difficulties for our fellow students at the Martial Academy. Fourthly, we must make every effort to find the whereabouts of these people from the One Heart sect. Apart from Feng Che's master, once any of the others are found, they shall be killed without mercy. Someone immediately asked below, why is Feng Che's master excluded? You fool! If one of them moves, it scares the other to death. How can you catch fish? They're already out, in the open. Do we still need to remove them? Chun Rahai scolded rudely. Everyone immediately understood. They couldn't help but admire his intelligence in their hearts. Don't look down on Chun Dianju, because he looks rough and doesn't care about trivial matters with feet that smell like a toilet. But he really has talent. His clear thinking is shocking. The middle-aged man presiding over the meeting had a face full of sorrow, as if he owed someone debts. For life. He waved his hand and said in a low voice filled with despair, since Lord Dian has given orders, let it be done this way. Everyone may leave now. As soon as he spoke, Chun Rahai immediately took off his foot, put on his boots with a constipated expression, and rolled his eyes. Fan Tianqiao, can you stop talking like a dead person? It's a habit. I don't want to either. Fan Tianqiao sighed sadly, with even deeper wrinkles on his face. As soon as the two started talking, everyone else brushed past them and fled. Mainly because when these two talked together, it felt like being in 2 different worlds simultaneously, a sense of disconnection that was maddening. And yet, these two were the main hall lord and deputy lord, respectively, and they had been transferred here from different places, thus becoming this mismatched partnership. Mutual dislike, displeased with each other. Are you staying behind to say something? Chun Rahai rolled his eyes. Feng Che needs someone around him. I will apply to the Dark Hall to send someone to infiltrate. Fan Tianqiao said word by word, listening to this broken, sorrowful voice and looking at this face covered in wrinkles since birth. Chun Rahai inexplicably felt uncomfortable. He waved his hand and turned his head away. Arrange it yourself. Then, I can arrange it, Fan Tianqiao hissed. If anything is discovered, he will be executed immediately. At that time, your fishing plan will also be ruined. Let it be ruined, you decide. Chun Rahai disappeared with a swoosh. Behind him came Fan Tianqiao's cold, hoarse voice, as if his throat was completely damaged and choked. Next time you attend a meeting barefoot, I'll chat with you all night. Bang! Chun Rahai vanished. He immediately sent a report back to his study. I accept being transferred here, but I request that Fan Tianqiao be immediately reassigned. Fan Tianqiao furrowed his brows and pondered for a long time before finally walking out slowly with furrowed brows. Then a message was sent to the Dark Hall. There's a leisurely task here. Consider sending some key talents to execute it as training. Feng Che received the news from the Grand Hall of Defense, agreeing to let him temporarily manage, without surprise, and nodded silently. With such a big commotion and such bizarre developments, if the Grand Hall of Defense didn't know about his connection to the One Heart sect and thus strengthen their vigilance against him and take measures, unless those people were all pig brains. Because right now, there was a clear line on himself. If they could plant someone near me with their brains, it would be even better. Feng Che thought secretly in his heart, because with his current strength, he couldn't afford any rash actions. Too weak, lacking the power to cover anyone's ears. Once discovered, he would certainly perish. Ever since choosing to do this, Fang Che hadn't placed his life and death in his heart, but dying now would be too regrettable. Sun Yuan became somewhat worried. Che, this matter easily invites trouble. It seems that the Grand Hall of Defense agreed so readily, clearly keeping an eye on you. This might have been a mistake, Fang Che firmly said. Even if they keep an eye on me, how does that matter? Brotherly loyalty cannot be ignored. No matter what, I must help Brother Su Yu preserve his property well. Sai, I wonder if you're truly foolish or pretending to be foolish. Sun Yuan sighed helplessly. But after this incident, you must prepare for the baptism of faith. Fang Che nodded. This was entirely within his expectations. Ever since he stepped forward, whether it was the One Heart sect or the people of the Grand Hall of Defense, as long as they weren't stupid, they would have a brainstorm. And what they guessed and thought, Fang Che could calculate almost perfectly. So he had absolute confidence that things would proceed according to his ideal situation. The biggest drawback was his identity was half exposed in the eyes of certain people. But even this exposure was what Fang Che wanted. Su family's assets, the One Heart sect couldn't take away. So as long as he stepped forward, they would try to find ways. And their methods would inevitably involve wiping out the entire Su family. By betraying the continent and joining the One Heart sect, such a family, Fang Che never intended to spare. I designed to kill you, exterminate your whole family, seize your assets, use you to gain fame, and have the force you betrayed personally wipe out your family. Suyu, do you feel any regrets for using and framing a child back then? In this case, is your mind clear? Fang Che asked himself in his heart. A faint trace of stubbornness quietly dissipated. After the Su family's assets were cleared by the Grand Hall of Defense, they began to be handled. Externally, Fang Jingheng personally went out and paid a high price to obtain an entire street originally belonging to the Su family, which conveniently bordered the Fang family's territory. He also acquired 2 tea houses, 2 grain shops, 1 pawn shop, 1 casino, and 1 brothel. No matter how much others bid, my nephew said the money can be refunded. Thinking of the words his sister, Fang Qianni, told him before he left, Fang Zhengheng felt confident. With these words as his backing, no matter how much others bid for the deals he had long coveted, Fang Zhengheng dared to outbid them. Fang Zhengheng, does your Fang family have that much money? Wei Junping, the head of the Wei family, was so angry that his brain was foggy, and he stood up publicly to curse. Our Fang family has accumulated wealth through generations. Before Fang Zhengheng could finish his sentence, he was pushed back by the simultaneous sound from the heads of the other 3 families. Everyone knew what was going on, but in front of the Grand Hall of Defense, no one dared to speak out. In the end, the Fang family emerged victorious. As they left the Grand Hall, Wei Junping glared menacingly and said, Fang Zhengheng, the people of the Su family may not be completely wiped out. When they return, how will your Fang family repay this debt? Fang Zhengheng calmly replied, we have already paid in full now. Why wait until later to repay it? The other heads of the families all swept their sleeves and left. After returning home, Fang Zhengheng received a box of silver and gold tickets from his sister, Fang Qianni. An hour later, it was precisely the price the Fang family had just paid. Fang Zhengheng's face was heavy as he looked at the box, devoid of much joy. Softly, he said, younger sister, watch carefully. The child must not go astray. Fang Qianni sighed, saying, I understand this matter. Fang Zhengheng patted the box and said, there is one thing I must inform you. Starting today, our Bibo, City Fang family's inheritance rights include a share for Fang Che. Fang Che's treatment is equivalent to that of a legitimate son inheriting. Fang Qianni was greatly surprised and said, brother, Fang Che is an outsider. Won't this cause internal strife within the Fang family? We cannot let the child lose heart. Fang Zhengheng said, although Fang Che is an outsider, your brother is the head of the family. He said decisively, I have written this into the family rules. There is no need to discuss it further. Fang Qianni hesitated but ultimately sighed. She knew her brother's temperament. Once he made a decision, it could not be changed. Additionally, Feng Che's nominal rights are merely to temporarily manage the Su family's assets. If one day someone from the Su family comes forward, or if Su Yu really returns, at that time, the Feng family will not default. Feng Jingheng smiled warmly. On this point, your elder brothers still hold sway. With these resources, we have several years of development, which will be enough to compensate. Thank you, elder brother. Feng Jingheng smiled gently. I am pleased with Chair's decision. He solemnly said, the child is a good child, but currently standing at the center of controversy. He cannot go astray. Yes. At this moment, Feng Che had already followed Sun Yuan to a secret location. Feng Che was knocked unconscious by Sun Yuan and brought here. He had no idea where this place was. When he woke up, he was already in a strange underground space. It was filled with a chilling atmosphere, indescribably eerie. On both sides were 8 grotesque stone statues, all clearly demonic figures. In the center shrine sat a monstrous centipede. Human-headed and centipede-bodied, its entire body was covered in terrifying and eerie tentacles. The centipede deity's eyes seemed to flicker with eerie green light. The range illuminated by the green light was exactly where Feng Che stood. Within a radius of 3 feet, the green light shimmered. Below the shrine, 4 people stood upright. 1 person in the middle, 2 on each side, and 2 more on the other. Sun Yuan moved his steps and stood next to 1 person, thus forming a pattern with 1 person in the middle and 2 on each side. Chair, this is your ritual for the baptism of faith. After today, you will truly become a member of the One Heart sect, Sun Yuan said softly. Feng Che's heart trembled. Is this the initiation ceremony of the only true religion? The initiation ceremony that is rumored to be impossible to surpass no matter how cunning the traitor is?